I'm just going to say it. I think it will happen again. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the latest episode of Next Card in the Deck. This time we'll be talking about the Inoue versus Akhmadaliev card. That's going to be courtesy of Bob Arum and TopRank. It's not currently confirmed where it's going to be broadcast, so we can't send you there just yet, but strong suspicions that it'll be on the zone. And that's going to be at the IG Arena at Nagoya in Japan. So bit of a journey out there if you're not a Japanese listener. Don't imagine we are.
We don't have many Japanese listeners. I'll be honest, I think on the broadcasting, I think that's a story in itself. So obviously there's been a lot of talk about TopRank losing their broadcast deal with ESPN. Yeah, it's big for Bob Arum, because I'm not sure how involved Bob Arum is in the active promotion and running of TopRank anymore, but coming into this fight, lead promoter, still no broadcaster. I checked again this morning, Box Live, Box Rec, all the usual sort of reputable places. I've got nothing at all for a broadcaster.
So bizarre, isn't it? Especially such a
close
fight, so close.
But like we said, matchroom are heavily involved. Mr. Eddie Hearn, as the promoter of Akhmadaliev, so it wouldn't surprise me if it gets to a point that DAZN end up broadcasting it, because let's be honest, it'd be an absolute shame if this ended up unbroadcasted.
Yeah,
the biggest fight of both of their careers, like absolutely terrifying. But
criminal.
We'll see what happens, and we'll update you guys as and when we know.
Yeah, absolutely. But for now, we'll get straight into the Inoue Akhmadaliev fight. We're looking at an undisputed super bantam clash.
Seems to be the case with Inoue. Every fight seems to be undisputed. The guy's absolutely done it all.
He's a monster.
The monster, not just a monster. He's the monster. Yeah, it's unheard of at these sort of weights to be doing what he's doing. But it is a phenomenal fight. People have been saying that, Inoue's been ducking Akhmadaliev for a couple of years now. Don't think that's fair, to be honest. I think Akhmadaliev's still quite a young pro, as far as his record goes, not necessarily his age, because he's 30.
Yep.
But not got any huge wins on that record yet.
No, not yet.
But yeah, it's.
But you said he's quite relatively young as a pro, but not as an amateur. Very, very well respected and quite well decorated as an amateur.
Won multiple things.
Yep. Bronze medal at the Olympics.
Yeah,
in 2016.
Youth world champion. I think standard world champion. Like
silver world amateur champion.
Yeah, done everything in the amateur gaming, compared to Inoue as well, who, what's crazy is, like, you look at him now and his fundamentals are so good that you think, how did he not do more?
Yeah.
But some fighters suit the pros, and I think Inoue, I mean, it's irrelevant now what I think. Inoue clearly suits the pros.
Yeah.
30-0, 27 stoppages at everything below super bantamweight, which is tiny weights, like absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's in a pretty elite club, isn't he? Pretty special club. There's 3 male boxers that have been 2-weight undisputed in the 4-belt era, and he's one of them.
He is one of them, yeah.
Pretty special.
Yeah. So what's also special is that those 3 are all still active.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Inoue Inoue. Another one fighting this weekend in Mr. Terence Crawford, who's again done it in 2, aiming to become a 3, which would be the first ever in history to become a 3-weight undisputed champion. And then the other, who's not long fought, is Mr. Alexander Usyk, currently pound for pound #1 in the world.
I mean, that in itself, I said he's in that special club, but you're in with those names.
Oh, it's massive.
It's great. I think sometimes the lower weight divisions in boxing don't quite get as much. Maybe not so respect, but definitely casuals don't look on those weights quite so kindly.
I agree.
But yeah, massively impressive. And we said and obviously nobody would argue that he's one of the top 5, top 3 pound for pound boxers in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really looking forward to seeing him out there and seeing if he can, like you said, this test that was supposedly somebody who he's avoiding.
Yeah.
If he goes and stops him.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I'll be honest, it's a tough one to predict. But we speak about the pound for pound rankings. Inoue is top 5, top 3. We will probably do a segment at some point where we have that discussion about our top 10 pound for pound and how it compares to the likes of the Ring and all the others. But yeah, a very, 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 very special talent. But as is Akhmadaliev, and I think Akhmadaliev will be the toughest fight of Inoue's career, even though we're still to completely understand just how good MJ is. But there's a real possibility MJ could be the kryptonite for Inoue.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, won't it? Having a look, there's no advantages for what physical advantages for one fighter over the other. Really, Akhmadaliev's a couple of years younger, but it doesn't really stand for that much, I don't think, especially when it's only a couple of years.
Also, when Inoue's had double the pro fight, so he's got more miles on the clock. You could argue, but then at the same time, he's more experienced. So
it's a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it? So it's
absolutely
not really much to look into there, I don't think.
No.
Do you think that this is potentially the person to upset the apple cart a bit, beat Inoue?
Could be. Inoue's been dropped a couple of times, so we know he can be hurt. Or at least can be caught off balance. I don't think he's ever been sort of where you go,
badly hurt.
Jesus, like Inoue's in trouble here. But yeah, I think Akhmadaliev has the best chance. He's coming in as a southpaw. We discussed it before recording. It's always slightly easier for a southpaw going in against an orthodox fighter than flip reverse, because as a southpaw, you're always fighting and sparring orthodox fighters. Whereas with an orthodox fighter, some have gone 20, 30 fights without ever facing a southpaw. So there is obviously that to take into account. So
what do you think would be next for Inoue if he goes and beats Akhmadaliev and undisputed super bantamweight? Happy days.
Brilliant. Yeah, retains his belts. Everything's all hunky-dory.
Does he stick around and look for another opponent there, or do you think he will continue to move up?
I think he continues to move up. I think he continues to move up purely for the basis that he's a proper old-school legacy fighter. He wants to defend his belts, win his belts. I think he moves up, but that's when the real questions start, because it's then, does his power carry? How did he take the shots from some of your featherweights and your super featherweights, some of your Nick Balls of the world? And
that's what people are calling for, weren't they? That would be an amazing
and there's
fight.
Absolutely loads of them. You've got Emmanuel Navarrete, Sugar Nunes. There's some really, really hard fuckers at that weight. So it'll be interesting. But I do think he steps up. If he wins this, I think he steps up in weight, and then I think he goes for a big fight, probably in Saudi.
I'm just going to say it. I think it will happen again. I think he will win again.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think he will win again. And I think he will then look to move on. And I think then, if he has success at another weight class, we're having a whole other conversation on where his career is going to go and how he's going to go down in history.
If he beats Akhmadaliev, which I think is probably a 60-40 fight in his favour on paper, then I think at that point, then already, if not, we should be going, this guy is he is a generational great. But at what point do we go along the lines of he is in the same group as, Juan Francisco Estrada, Chocolatito, Donito Nonaire, a fighter that Inoue has beaten, one of the only ones to go the full rounds with him. At what point do we go, do you know what, this guy belongs in and amongst that elite level where they go down as the greatest of all time? But we'll see, and time will tell. But we'll predict them a little bit later, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll move on then. We'll talk about a couple of the other fights on the card. So we've got Yoshiki Takei and Christian Jimenez.
Yes.
For the WBO World Bantamweight title.
Yeah, another, and I mentioned earlier on one of the news posts, the Fight Week post for Inoue, Japan has become a hotbed for talent, for big punching talent as well. They're not, they're not boxing around on the back foot, box and move, jab and move. They are hurting people. Don't know a huge amount about Takei, other than the fact that he's now defended his belt twice. Beat Jason Maloney, one of the Maloney brothers, for the title, I believe.
Yeah, he won the belt, from Jason Maloney, and then he has defended it on 2 occasions, Daigo Hagi and Yutapong Tongdi.
I have no idea how to pronounce either of those two names.
That's why I've written them down.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Very clever. Yeah, Jimenez seems a tough opponent.
Absolutely.
Fought at a solid enough level. Never been stopped. The realism of it is he at world level? Well,
Find out.
Time will tell. Time
Yeah.
will tell. But very good fight.
I think we've got Takei, who's going to be, he's 11-0, 9, like you said, punches at the minute.
They're everywhere.
From Japan, 9 stoppages, and looking good as far as we can tell going into the fight. Europe, we've talked about it before. I'm sure we'll talk about it again. You always got that concern when you're going in, and if you've got a fighter in Jimenez who's 25-4 with 18 stoppages, tough Mexican fighter, there's always a risk, isn't there? No matter how good you are, of going into that fight and coming across a bit of a...
I was watching something earlier. It was an interview with Ben Davidson, and they were talking about Pat McCormack's recent win. Obviously, that puts him to 8-0 at a very high level already.
Yep.
And they were saying about learning fights and stuff, and they said, like, do you want a couple more? Give him an opportunity to learn. And he said, people throw around the term learning fight without really understanding exactly what they mean by it. And I thought it was quite interesting to hear, because he was saying with like Pat McCormack, because of his amateur pedigree, he has fought every single style. But sometimes as part of a learning fight, you've got to go in and lose, or you've got to go in and come across something you've not come across before, even at a lower level, not deal with it particularly well, so you can go, right, that's not how I need to deal with that going forward. And with Takei, the one thing I would say, similar enough record to Pat, so he's 11-0, still very, very young in his pro career. Looking at his record, I don't think he's fought anyone similar to Jimenez, or what we'd expect Jimenez to bring to this fight.
Yep.
So again, that's a big question mark. He's not necessarily is Jimenez on world level, because we don't know, but he has been beaten a couple of times, beaten by one who I think went on to become a world champion.
Yep.
Not
was Ryosuke Nishida.
That was it, and he went on to win a world champ title, and he lost it to
the other
Junto Nakatani.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, he's been in and around that level, but it's what he brings. Has Takei dealt with anything like him? If he is a typical Mexican fighter, head down, walk you down, cut out your corners. How does he get on with that? It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure. Not sure.
Yeah, I think it will be a good one. We'll be interested to see whether Takei does keep on his good run and keep his out, but time will tell.
Absolutely.
As always. And then the next fight, the last fight we're going to go into particular detail on, is the Inoue Takada and Ryusuke Matsumoto. So that is for the WBO Asia Pacific minimum weight title.
Tiny guys.
Tiny guys. Now, if you just looked at this on paper, I think you would go, those records speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before, we're guilty of that still, even when we try and not think about it. Takada is 16-8-3.
It's very much a middle of the road journeyman's record.
It is, isn't it? But it's also very misleading, because currently he's on a 9-fight unbeaten streak, and all of his losses
not bad for a journeyman, that.
Yeah, not bad. And all of his losses came relatively thick and fast at the start of his career. But within the first 17 fights he had as a pro, he lost. That's where his 8 losses come from. And he also had his 3 draws in there as well. And it sort of shows that he's starting to come on and find his form a little bit.
Yeah.
A man who is in form.
Yeah.
Against Matsumoto, who is
a
unbeaten.
Prospect, you would assume, coming in. Yeah.
Well, he's 6-0, so he's early in his pro career, very early.
Thing is, as well with this, again, we're not gonna lie our way through it. Don't know huge amounts about Takada.
No.
Don't know huge amounts about Mitsumoto. Matsumoto, that was it. But Takada's the WBO Asia Pacific champion. He's earned that right. Comes in as the underdog, which again we don't see very often, but he is the A side. I would imagine the plan is for the Asia market that this Matsumoto's coming in. He's going to hopefully do his job, and it's weird because we'll discuss our upset of the night. Takada beating Matsumoto for me would be the upset of the night, but I can't really call it the upset of the night, I don't think, because even though the bookies have it as an upset, he's coming in as the defending champion, so I'm not really sure whether or not that counts. But it's an interesting one, and I love that sort of story. There's a couple of fighters that always come to mind with them sort of records. One British fighter, kind of British, Cameroonian, Thomas Asomba,
Yep.
who again has always fought at a really, really strong level. He's won some, he's lost some, lost quite a lot, but what a great career he's had. The other is the Puerto Rican Gabe Rosado, as you know, big fan. Beat some incredibly good fighters over the years. Beck the Bully had knockout of the year, but he's also been in there with every man and his dog and done a great job on it. But you look at his record, and I think he's got 18 losses now. Derek Chisora, another, and it just shows that it is harder at the lower weights because the commercial value isn't there. But this guy has persevered and gone, no, I'm
not done.
I know what I can offer. And he's in a position now at the minimum weights where there's a lot less competition. He comes through this, before you know it, there's world titles on the horizon. And
absolutely,
I'm fully behind my man Takada.
Well, like you said, we have limited knowledge of this up and coming Japanese wealth of fighters that are coming through, but definitely some exciting talent, and definitely excited to see what happens with those fights. I think it's probably worth saying that there are some other fights on the card as well, ones that we're not going to go into so much depth on, but it's definitely worth tuning in because it is going to be a good night. And if you're not tuning in, then you can always catch up on the highlights because it will be
absolutely.
As is tradition, we'll go to our predicted winners
always.
So I'll take them from you for the first fight. First of all, Inoue Akhmadaliev, does he retain his titles?
Yeah, I think it is a hard one to predict. It's very, very close, but Inoue is, I believe, going to go down, and again, if not already, as one of the greatest to ever do it in and around them weight classes. He's already the best Japanese fighter to have ever come out of Japan. Late stoppage, maybe 9th, maybe 10th round.
Very good. Yoshiki Takei versus Christian Jimenez.
Again, tough one, but I'm going to have to go with what we know, and I'm going to have to go with the fighter we know a little bit more about, and that is Takei. I think he's really highly thought of in Japan. The articles you read about him indicate that. But Jimenez never been stopped, so I'm going to go points victory.
Yep, absolutely. And then Takada and Matsumoto.
I'm going to go Takada. Maybe I'm thinking with my heart. Don't really know enough about either of them to make a predicted decision based on any calculations or analytics. Love Takada's story. I love Takada's story, and he's the champion. He'll
back the champion.
I want to back the champion as the underdog, absolutely. Why the not?
Brilliant. Well, as I said, we're only going to look at the three that we've talked about in depth. We'll do the same for the fight of the night. What is going to be best fight out of those three?
Inoue Akhmadaliev is an absolute classic. You've got two guys that can hit. You've got Southpaw Orthodox, always makes for interesting viewings. Inoue can be hurt. Akhmadaliev has been beaten. There is a blueprint. Was it an off night? There's a lot of question marks. I'll be honest, it's got all the ingredients for a cracker, so 100% fight of the night for me.
Brilliant. And then your upset, I think you've probably already given that one away a little bit. Bookie's upset.
The bookie's upset of the night for me is Takada. I think Takada, sorry. I think he's going to keep his belt. And I think people are going to realise that actually his record definitely deceives. I like him. I like him a lot.
Brilliant. Spot on. Right, that is our predicted winners. Fight of the night, upset of the night. We'll go, as always, to Rate the Robot. Cue the jingle.
I've not got one yet. I've been making them in my head. I've got raps and all sorts.
We'll work on the jingle. But essentially, we're going to put AI to the test and see what it predicts for those three fights and see whether we would agree. So
you'll tell by my face whether I agree.
Inoue Akhmadaliev. Inoue by late knockout, rounds 8 to 11.
Okay. That's basically what I said, to be fair.
Exactly what you said. You said round 9, so 8 to 11, that includes.
Okay, I think that's a fair prediction.
Takei Jimenez. Takei by mid TKO.
The only reason I didn't go for it is because
you've got a tough Mexican.
Tough Mexican who has been in a world title, has been against a former world champion who was a future world champion at the time he fought him, but even still, Nikisha, I think his name was, could punch a bit, didn't stop him. I disagree it'll be a stoppage, but if he stops in mid-rounds, phenomenal result.
Yeah, great result. And then the last one is Takada Matsumoto, and actually AI has agreed with you that Takada is going to win by unanimous decision.
I'm starting to rate the robot.
I know. I'm starting to think AI is not that bad after all.
It's not. It's done a few very criminal ones.
Yeah.
Who was it with the 100% chance of winning?
I can't remember which one that was.
Because AI needs to pull its head out its artificial arsehole.
I don't know. I don't think it was the Troy Williamson fight.
No,
but if it was, unlucky. We still need to get around to our post-fight clarity so that we can.
It is a segment that will be coming, but we are committing a lot of time to this at the minute.
Yeah. But that is all of this episode finished up. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of our predictions, what AI said, what the fight of the night's going to be. And actually, if you can let us know anything that you want us to talk about in future videos, any questions you've got for us, please do that. Pop it in the comments, and we'll see you next time.